In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your very own starter Pokemon for Pokemon Tabletop United. Hey gamers, welcome back to Game Master's Dungeon. I'm Brian, your Game Master, and today we're going to do that deep dive into how to create your own starter Pokemon, or any Pokemon for that matter, for Pokemon Tabletop United. So this will be good info for players and GMs alike. Now I had a poll going. I have a list of 5 Pokemon that I thought could be a good fit for a good starter Pokemon for this video. Thank all of you that participated in that poll and helping choose our Pokemon. It will be Machop. So with that said, let's go ahead and get on over into Roll20 and let's start the build process. Alright gamers, so here we are. We're back in my Roll20 game where we created our character build character. I'm going to use the same game to create our Pokemon because I already have a lot of my assets and everything here. On a note, there were some questions about how I set up this. This is like my player page for my players in my Pokemon game that I'm running. I had a question on how I created this and how I set all this up. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to do a little tutorial on this at the very end of the video if it's something you would like to take a look at and maybe put into your own game. But let's go ahead and get started here. So like I said, we've chosen Machop, or you all have chosen Machop as the Pokemon that we're going to use to create this video. You can see here I've got all the tokens that I'm going to need. So we're going to start with a level 1 Pokemon, and then I'm going to level it all the way up to level 20, which is when Machop evolves into Machoke in this game. So I need both sets of these tokens, and I'm going to show you how to set up the character sheet with the tokens and all this stuff, how I do it in my games, if it's something that you're interested in doing. If not, you can just skip that portion if you'd like. But first we need to go over and look at the core rulebook. So page 198 is where we're going to want to start here. So this is where it talks about managing Pokemon. This is going to give you some steps here on what to do. So first thing you need to do, you need to go to the Pokédex, which I've got open here as well. So this is the Pokédex page for Machop. This is going to have a lot of information on it that we're going to need, and we're going to go through it step by step. But just know that this is where we're at. We're on page 197. If you would like to follow along, I will put a link in the description again for the website of the creators of this system and all of these PDFs, so you can get them, download them, follow along if you'd like. Okay, so let's go back to here. So we're going to start with collecting our Pokemon's base stats. That's one of the things that has us to start out with. We're going to start by checking the Pokedex to see the Pokemon's base stats. So we go to the Pokedex. So he's got HP 7, attack of 8, defense of 5, special attack, special defense, and speed of 4. So now what we're going to do, what I've already done, I've already gone over here and I've already placed these in the base stat column. Okay, that step, super simple. You just go from the book, copy the numbers, put them here. The next step is then to apply the Pokemon's nature. Now for this particular Pokemon, I chose a good nature for this Pokemon. I chose the Adamant nature. Adamant improves attack, but lowers special attack. I'm going to go ahead and apply that now. Now when you have a nature, it modifies the chosen stat by 2 for each. So this, it modifies attack up. So attack increases by 2 points, base. Special attack goes down by 2. The reason why this is important, we're going to talk about the next step, is the base relation. Now, as a caveat to that, HP is only ever modified by 1 point, either up or down. So say as an example, I had a nature that gave me +2 speed, but minus HP, HP would only go down 1. Or if I had a nature that gave me plus HP but minus another stat, HP would go up by 1, the other stat would go down by 2. Okay? So now we go back to our page here. So we've got our base stats. Next, we've applied our nature, which we've already done. It even says right here, HP is only ever raised or lowered by 1. The other stat is 2 retrospectively, to a minimum of 1. Next, we're going to add an X amount of stat points. X is equal to the Pokemon's level plus 10. So we're going to add 11 points to this Pokemon. So I've got his level set at 1 right here. So now we're going to apply 11 points. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I went ahead and in the allocated column, I've allocated my 11 points. So I did 5 points in attack for a total of 15, 2 points in HP, defense, and speed, which gave me 9, 7, and 6 respectively. Now let us talk about the rule of base relation. The base relation is what you will do. You will organize your stats from highest to lowest. So for our Machop here, so attack would be highest, next would be HP, next would be defense. Special defense and speed are tied at 4. Special attack is at 2. So the base relation rule states that no stat can ever be higher than the stat higher than it in the base relation. So as an example, my attack, say 10, I could never improve by allocating points to HP to a point where it is equal to or higher than attack. So as an example, so let's say I don't put any points in attack for some reason. So it's 10. HP now has 2 points in it. This is as high as my HP stat can ever go. I cannot put any more points into this stat, because if I do, it's now equal to attack, and attack is higher than it in the base relation. So in order for me to improve my HP, I'm at least going to have to put 1 point into attack. Because then HP can then go to 10 because it remains lower than the next highest stat, which is attack. Other part of that is that the 2 stats here that are tied do not need to remain tied. As you can see, I put 2 points in speed, so speed is now higher than special defense total, but since in the base stat line they are equal, one can be higher than the other, but they can never be higher than defense, which is the next step up in the list that is at 5. So as you can see, I put 2 points in defense to get me to a 7. I was then able to put 2 points in speed. So this is as high as speed can go because defense total is at 7. I can never increase either one of these to be equal to my defense. Now my defense can potentially go 1 more point higher. As an example, say I gain a level, it goes to level 2. I put a point in defense, it goes to 8. So now my attack is still highest. My next highest stat is HP. My next highest stat is defense. My next highest 2 stats, special defense and speed. And then special attack is always going to be the lowest. All right, so that's the basic rundown of base relation. Now, if you have any further questions on that, drop those in the comments. I will do my best to explain it. But for now, just know when you're creating your Pokemon, organize your base stats from highest to lowest. No stat can ever be higher, total, than the stat above it in the line. Okay? All right, so now that we got all of those steps out of the way, let's take a look and see what's next. So let's go back to the core rulebook here. Next, it's going to tell you how to calculate your Pokemon's HP. It's your Pokemon's level plus HP stat times 3, the total HP stat, plus 10. If we go back over here, this should automatically do that for us. So 38 should be our max. So we're level 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 10 is 37, plus 1 for the levels, 38. Okay, we're right on point. Then it's going to talk about abilities. So when you create your Pokemon, at level 1 it gains 1 of its abilities. So let's look at what choices Machop has. Machop, its basic abilities, gets Guts, or it can have Steadfast. Now for this example, I chose to give it Guts. You scroll down here, it's all the way down at the bottom. Click the little arrow to break it down. I'll just roll it in the chat here so we can see it. So what this does, so this is always active. Whenever Machamp suffers from burn, poison, paralysis, freezing, or while asleep, his attack is raised by 2 combat stages. If he's ever cured of those conditions and no longer is affected by them, you lose these combat stages that you gain here. Other ways of gaining combat stages are not lost. It's just the ones from this particular ability. Now, Steadfast, that option was if he ever becomes flinched, which some moves cause the Pokemon to flinch, just like in the game, it increases his speed by +1 combat stage. I chose to go with Guts for this example. All right, so we've got his ability done. Next, we need to look at his moves. So what moves does he have access at level 1? Right here. So he gets Leer, a normal type, and Low Kick, a fighting type. Also, make sure you notate his type on the character sheet, which is fighting. This is going to be important here in just a moment. So we go back to our sheet. Now, I've already got these plugged in here just to save a little time. So Leer is an at-will ability. It's got an accuracy check of 2. It crits on a 20. Doesn't really crit. It is normal typed. It's a status category. So when you roll this, you're going to roll the little yin-yang gray symbol here. And then its range is a cone 2. It's friendly and it has social. Now, what I've done here as well is what you're probably going to want to do for your Pokemon in your games. I've notated the moves contest type and effect in its effect block here, along with what the move actually does. The reason why this is important, because if you participate in a Pokemon contest and you use one of your moves, it's going to have a contest type and an effect associated with each move. When we get to the section where I talk about Pokemon contests, I'll go more into detail on these, but you're going to want to have these notated on your moves so you don't have to constantly be looking them up when the contest comes around. What Leer does, all legal targets have their defense lowered by 1 combat stage. Okay. Now, obviously, Cone 2, you can look in the core rulebook. There's a section in there that talks about what ranges look like. It's got nice little pictures, diagrams, colors, and all that stuff. You can see how cones look. It does have the friendly status, so that means it does not affect friendly targets. It also has the social keyword, so that means it is tied to social interactions, so it cannot be interrupted and it cannot be affected by things like substitute, things like that. Our next move, we get Low Kick. Low Kick has a frequency of every other turn. AC 2, crits on a 20. It is a fighting type. Now you'll notice that this is a fighting type move. Our Pokemon is a fighting type Pokemon. Any of you that have played the game may understand the stab, same type attack bonus. This game also incorporates that. Now, I don't have the damage and everything filled out because Low Kick is a special kind of attack. It has the weight class keywords here. Weight class means that it references the target Pokemon's weight class. So what Low Kick does, its base damage is equal to twice the target's weight class. So let's go ahead and fill out this move with an example. Say we're attacking a Pokemon that is a weight class of 2. Its base damage is equal to twice the target's weight class. So 2 times 2 would be 4. But since this is a fighting type move and we are a fighting type Pokemon, we get Stab, which increases the base damage, so right here, by 2. So this would technically be a 6. Now, as an example, say we're going to target this Snorlax over here. Snorlax is a weight class of 6. So double that to 12. Remember, plus 2 for your Stab, which is now a 14. As you can see now, it'll do 4d10 plus 15 plus this Pokemon's attack stat. So basically, it would add an extra 15. So it'd be 4d10 plus 30. Fighting type damage against that target, against that Snorlax right there. So the thing with Low Kick is basically each time you're going to use it, you're going to want to have to go in here and adjust its base damage. Now other moves that just have a flat base damage, say as an example it has a flat base damage of 6, it would just go to 8, and that would be it if it has stab bonus. Alright, so our next step is now to calculate our Pokemon's capabilities. Now we don't have to do this because it's already done for us. If we go to the Pokédex, they are all right here. So basically we just have to take these numbers from here, plug them over here. Now, all of these come standard on the character sheet. Then you click the add button to add a new line, which is what I had to do for Nature Walk, Caves and Mountains for Underdog. What Nature Walk does, Nature Walk, for whatever type of terrain it is, forests, mountains, caves, swamps, ocean, whatever, basically that Pokemon treats that particular terrain type as regular terrain, so it doesn't have any penalties to its movement. Underdog, basically it refers to Pokemon with a base stat total, not here, but the base stats here, this line right here, of 45 or less, with a few exceptions. But then what it also does, it unlocks the access to several Pokemon edges that we will go over in a later video. Just know that when this Pokemon evolves into Machamp, it loses Underdog because its base total is like 50 something. I want to say 52, 53, something like that. So it no longer gains Underdog. So it'll lose the effect of any of those edges that it has, and it'll no longer be able to take those. All right, the next step we're going to want to do is to calculate our Pokemon skills. Once again, this is already done for us. If we go here, has its skill list right here. Basically, you just copy these stats over to your character sheet, like I've done here. Now, all the other ones that are set to 0 is because this Pokemon does not have these particular skills. Now, some Pokemon may have other skills besides these that Machop has. Like Porygon may have technology education, or other Pokemon may have other types of skills. Just refer to your Pokédex entry and just copy those skills over to here. All right, so we have created our level 1 Pokemon. Now, it does give a suggestion to create Pokemon up to level 5 for a starter Pokemon for the beginning of a campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and fill everything out, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at everything that changed, everything that was added. So I went ahead and increased my Pokemon's level to 5. I've set his XP to 40 because you need 40 XP to get to level 5. To get to level 6, you need 50 XP. In that same section in the book that we were looking at, in a few more pages, there's going to be the Pokemon XP chart. You'll just want to reference that. One thing I did forget to mention, so in this sheet, make sure it's set to targeted, like your trainer was, but set this to Pokemon instead of trainer. The reason why you select it here, because it changes the hit point calculation, which is what we want. We don't want the trainer one because it gives us too many. Set it to the Pokemon one. So now, as you can see, we now have 45 HP, right? We've gained a little bit of little health. So what I did, I put 1 point in HP, a point in defense, a point in special defense, and a point in speed. And once again, maintaining the base relation. So attack is still higher than HP, which is still higher than defense, which is still higher than both special defense and speed, which is then still higher than special attack. Okay? Now, the reason why I wanted 1 special defense is so that I can get, for every increment of 5, you get 1 evasion point. I wanted 1 point in special evasion just to make things a little harder to hit this character, because he is fighting type. He is weak to psychic. A lot of psychic type moves are special. So anything that we can do to help mitigate some of those attacks. Also, special defense directly correlates to how much damage you're going to take from special attacks. So you're going to want to make sure you not neglect it. Sure, you want to be really strong, like a nice physical sweeper, but you don't want to neglect all of your other defenses and HP, because then when you do get hit, you're going to go down pretty fast. So let's see, what else did we get? We learned a new move at level 5, because if we look at the Pokédex here at level 5, we gained Focus Energy. I've gone ahead and put it in here, Focus Energy at will. It has 0 AC because it's a self-buff. Normal type, it's a status move. It's got the contest type cool effect, get ready, and then the user gets pumped. While he's pumped, his crit range is extended by 2. Or 18 plus if the crit range is not otherwise extended. Being switched will cause this effect to end. So say, as an example, so we use Focus Energy, then the crit on low kick would then go down to an 18, which is great because you want low kick to crit more, because low kick it's a pretty decent move to start with. Okay. The only other thing that we did was in our contest stats here. Once again, this is going to be a video all on its own about Pokemon contests. But as you're playing and leveling, you're going to want to maintain the tracking of your contest dice that your Pokemon have, because you're going to want that information at the ready and not have to go searching for the information when you need it. Basically, how it works is that each stat, except for HP, correlates to one of these particular contest types. Attack is tied to cool. For every 10 points total that you have in that stat, gives you 1 dice to a maximum of 3 dice if the stat is 30 or more. So I went ahead and tracked my 1 cool dice here. Your skills stay the same, abilities stay the same. And then the last thing we earned was 1 tutor point. You gain 1 tutor point at level 5, and then for every 5 levels thereafter, you gain an additional tutor point. Now, tutor points, just real quick, what they're used for, mainly for TMs and HMs. If you wish to teach your Pokemon one of the moves from one of those particular TMs or HMs, requires 1 tutor point per move. Remember, only 3 of your moves can be from TMs, HMs, from tutor moves, and things like that. The rest of them have to be from your natural progression, which is right here. And then also the Pokedex gives you your TM-HM list of ones that they're able to learn. Also your tutor moves that you're able to learn here as well. Okay? Alright, so before I level this Pokemon up to level 20, I'm going to show you how I tie their tokens to the character sheet. Now, those of you that have been playing Roll20 before already know how to do this, but I will show you an interesting tip that some of you may not know, some of you might know, but for those of you that don't, this will definitely help you out, and I'll show you why it's going to be helpful here in just a second. So we're going to go over into Edit. So my avatar, I like to use this particular token right here. So since I've added it to the game, it's right here in my recent uploads list. Just drag it over. Okay. Now I can save changes right there. So now, if I go to my journal, if we look at the top here, you see it's got the little avatar token, right? Which you can see my other players, all of their Pokemon. Nice and easy to reference. Now, what you can do, what a lot of people do, right? They're like, oh, this is my battle token here. I'm just going to select this token. All right, cool. Save changes. All right. So now when I go here and I grab this out, boom, puts me on chop right there. So I can drag it from the sheet here. But here's the thing, though. So say as an example, this is my token. Okay. We're Pokemon Creation Guide. Let's find it here. Boom. Right. I like to have the nameplates on. I'm working on transferring all of the HP bars from green to red, because I had a map that it was like a lot of green and my players were having a hard time seeing it. You need to make the decision on whatever color one you want to use. I'm going to use the red because it stands out. I just tie it to HP and then set it to player permissions so they can see it. Now I save changes, right? So now when I click on it, or I move him over here, see he's got a little health bar, he's got his name underneath, but say I drag him, doesn't have all this info. So what you got to do, open this back up, go back to Edit, remove that token. After you set up your token, this is the one you're going to want to use now. Okay, save changes. Then you're like, it's basically the same thing I just did. But now when I drag it over, it remembers the status of the token that I tied it to. Now, why is this important? You're like, well, okay, so say my friend is playing Soraya here. She's got her Larvitar out here, Terminator. She's like, oh, I'm going to switch. I want to pull out Snappy. But say I'm on one of my regular maps or on a battle map. So what I would do, I'll go here. So if I want Snappy, I can just go this, pull them right out. Instead of having to go to this particular page that I set up as like my player page and copy paste and go back and all the other shenanigans. So just remember that when you're tying your tokens to your Pokemon sheet, update your token first and then tie the updated token with all the stats and all the settings that you want to the character sheet. So then when you want to get it out later, you just drag it. There it is. Okay. Now another thing, you're going to want the weakness and resistance chart. So now there's a really cool tool. I'll go ahead and show you now. Go over here. So this is the PTU Tools, the Random Pokemon Generator. Now this had data from version 1.04. So if you use this, you're going to want to make sure that you go and double check against the Pokedex in case anything changed. I use this quite a lot for when I'm creating Pokemon to kind of quickly stat Pokemon. So let's just go ahead and make ourselves a Machop. We'll make him level 5. We'll give him an adamant nature just like ours is. Specific. And we'll generate. There he is. It's got all of his moves. Chose guts. It's got all of his stats, his skills, and it randomly allocates his stats right here for us. And it does follow the base relation. He is level 5, so he's got 15 total points. Now, it's this right here. You're like, well, this is great, Ryan, but what if I need it on my character sheet? Here's what I do. Here's a little tip. I take this, and I copy it. I go to Edit. Down here in the bio, I paste it. So now when I go over here, it's got this nice box right here. It's got all the little icons. See, now that I've got it copied and pasted in here, it's got the weaknesses and resistance chart, just like it does on here. Just copy paste. Now say you need to modify this for some reason. Say they gain an ability that gives them a resistance to a particular type of attack, or they're holding an item that gives them resistance. You can actually go in here and modify this. So if we go back to edit, you can always go, oh, poison, he's now, say, like 0.5. Save changes. Right? And now right here, now it's at 0.5. Okay? So let's turn that back just to make sure. All right, and there we are, back to normal. So now not only do you have your character sheet with all your stats, you can also go to your bio and info. You can see your weaknesses and resistance. Everything is all nice, concise, right here on your sheet for you. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and level Machop to level 20. And I'll show you everything he gains at level 20, and then we will do the evolution process so you can see how that all works. On a note, I put a link in the description to the website, the URL for this right here. So if you ever want to use this, especially a GM, you need to quickly stat some Pokemon. This is an invaluable tool for you. I use it quite a lot. It also has a catch rate and status tracker. So say, he's trying to catch this Pokemon. And I say he's down to 34 HP and he's paralyzed. You can click on the calculate capture rate. This is now what they need to roll equal to or less than on their D100 to catch it, which is a pretty useful tool, so you don't have to do as much math. All right, gamers. So I went ahead and leveled this Pokemon to level 20. Let's take a look at it and see what's changed. So we'll see that my stats have increased. So I went from level 5 to level 20, so I got 15 additional points. So now I should have a total of 30 total stat points. Because you basically have 10 plus your Pokemon's level for 30. So I've got 10, 18, 20, and 30 total. So what I did, I increased my attack. I put some points in HP. Improved my defense up to a 10 so I get an extra physical evasion point. Improved my speed and a little bit in special defense. Now remember, base relation, attack, which is still higher than HP, which is still higher than defense, which is still higher than speed and special defense, which is then still higher than special attack. So I've maintained there, and I'm good. Capabilities didn't change. The big thing was we learned a whole slew of moves. So let's take a look at what he learns here. So from level 5, I had Focus Energy. He gains Karate Chop, Foresight, Low Sweep, Seismic Toss, and Revenge. Now, obviously, I can't keep all of these because I can only have a max of 6. So this is where, like in the games, you have to forget old moves to make room for new moves. So let's take a look and see what I did. So I dropped Leer for Foresight. I believe Foresight to be a very useful move on these types of Pokemon because what it does, as a swift action on your turn, for the rest of the turn, your normal and fighting type moves can hit and affect ghost type Pokemon. And your user can see through illusion moves with the illusion keyword and the effects created by the illusionist capability. Which is great, because if you come up against a ghost Pokemon are immune to normal and fighting type moves. So I dropped Low Kick in favor of Karate Chop. Karate Chop is a great move. At will, crits naturally on a 17+, which synergizes well with Focus Energy. When you use that, it improves your crit range by an extra 2, so it goes to a 15+, which is fantastic. It is a fighting type move, so we get stab bonus. The base damage on it is normally 5, but since it is a fighting type move, we improve it to a 7, which is 2d6 plus 10 plus 20. So 2d6 plus 30 damage that you can throw out every turn, which is great. Once again, I do have all of my contest effects as well on all of these moves, which you'll see. So once again, we kept Focus Energy. We learned Seismic Toss. I like Seismic Toss because basically what it does, the target loses hit points equal to the level of Seismic Toss's user. Now this is a loss of life, not damage. You can use it twice per scene for basically 40 free damage, which is pretty good. Obviously, as your Pokemon improves in level, 30, 40, 50. It means twice per scene. You can throw it out to 50 damage each time. It's amazing. Revenge. Revenge is great. It's another fighting type move. It begins with a base damage of 6. Remember, since we are fighting type, we get the stab bonus, which goes to 8. So now it'll do 2d8 plus 10 plus 20. It does have the effect that when you use it, you do nothing and may not shift. At the end of the round, you then hit the target with Revenge. You may shift with it as well. If you were damaged that round, the base damage then is improved to 12, which then with Stab goes to 14. Okay, Revenge is pretty good. And now Brick Break is not learned naturally, but we talked about Tutor Points real quick. I come down here. So now we're level 20. We have a total of 4 Tutor Points. I spent 1 thinking as my trainer is going through the world and doing challenges and earning some money, I'm going to go to the Pokemart or wherever, and I'm going to buy a TM for Brick Break and teach it to my Pokemon. Now remember, when you teach a TM or an HM move to a Pokemon, it costs you 1 Tutor Point. That's why I only have 3 left. And then I lose one of his other moves, put in Brick Break. Brick Break is really good because it's an at-will. It doesn't crit like Karate Chop, but it has a higher base damage. Base damage is normally 8, but with Stab goes to 10. So right now it'll do 3d8 plus 10 plus 20. Light Screen and Reflect may not be activated in response to Brick Break. Now you're not so much concerned with Light Screen as you are Reflect. If you hit a target and they have Reflect, they can activate Reflect in response to taking that physical damage to gain 1 step higher of resistance against that attack. So say as an example, they were neutral damage, so times 1, they would now be resistant, so they would only take half damage against that attack. But Brick Break does not allow the use of Reflect against that particular type of attack, which is great because some Pokemon will have those kind of moves. This allows you to break through those and even do regular damage, or at least prevent them from being more resistant to it. So I learned that one. I lost 1 Tutor Point. All right, so those are all of our moves that we've learned. So basically that's it. Level 20, this is what this Pokemon looks like. Now you can see here as well, as our current HP changes, our token here continues to calculate our stats. So now we've got 75 HP on this token. And if I was to grab it from the journal and bring it over, it also maintains the memory of the setup of this initial token as well. So if you're switching Pokemon in and out, right, when you grab the new Pokemon from your journal, throw it over, if you set them all up correctly like I showed you, they should all as you level them, should all continue to track the new progress. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and go through the evolution process here in just a second. All right, so we're going to start with the evolution. So what we're going to do, we're going to want to go to the Pokédex, and now we're going to look at Machoke, his first evolution. So Machop, you need to be at least level 20 for it to evolve. So we're going to say right at level 20 it does evolve. So there's a lot of things that change here. So first thing that happens is that you look at the new base stats. So right here, you're going to take these new base stats and you're going to take them over to your sheet. And you're going to basically change them from what they were the previous evolution to the new evolution. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then we'll come back and allocate all of our points. All right, so what I did, you take everything out of allocated, you change your base stat line to the new stat line for the new evolution, then you apply your nature. So I get plus attack minus special attack. So the base would be 10, so which is improved to 12. Special attack, the base is 5, which goes down to 3. So now we get 30 points now to allocate again for this new evolution. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. All right, so I've gone ahead and reallocated his points. Now, when you do a new evolution, remember to basically kind of re-look at your base relation. So once again, my attack is still highest, followed by HP, followed by defense. But now at this evolution, special defense is now higher in the base rate than speed, which is then higher than special attack. So you have to change how you're doing special defense and speed, because before they were equal, but now they're different. So with my new spread of 7, 8, 5, 0, 5, 5, my attack is 20, which is higher than HP, which is higher than defense, which is higher than special defense, which is higher than speed, which is higher than special attack. So next we're going to move over here to our capabilities, and our capabilities are going to change a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, nothing really exciting here. His overland increased and his power increased. I went to 6 and I went to 8. Nothing super special there. So now, and then our moves all stayed the same, because if we look at the new Pokédex entry, he still doesn't get anything at 20, right? So we're still like the original set of moves. So we kept all the ones that we wanted when he was Machop, along with our Brick Break TM. So nothing changed with his moves. All right, so now down here in our contest stats, now that a lot of our stats are at least a 10 or more, I've included the dice here. So attack is at 20 now, so we've got 2 cool dice. And then cute is speed, so my speed is at least a 10, so I get 1 dice. Special defense is 11 now, so it's at least 10, so I get 1 smart dice. And my defense is over 10, so I have 1 tough dice. Okay, so once again, just make sure you notate these. We'll go into detail of what this is and how it works in the contest video. Skills. Let's take a look at his new skills and adjust those accordingly now. Skills, so got a little bit of change here. Acrobatics actually went down from 3d6 to 2d6 plus 2. Athletics went up to 46. Combat is 46 plus 2. Stealth stayed the same. Perception went to 2d6 plus 2. And focus went up to 3d6. And now abilities, so he maintains the same abilities. So these are your choices. So at level 20, you get the choice of either another basic ability, or you can choose one of the advanced abilities. So for this character, for this Pokemon, I choose Bodyguard as the second one. Let me just put it in chat here so we can see it. So basically the trigger is a cardinally adjacent ally is hit by an attack. What this does, the user and the target switch places. And the user, so Machoke, becomes the new target of the attack. But if the switching places would not move the triggering ally out of the area of effect of the burst, cone, blast, or line, this ability does not prevent the ally from being hit. You're going to want this guy to be able to take some hits for you because he's going to be pretty tough. Okay? So that's really all that happens at the evolution. This guy's moves stayed the same. He gained another ability, which Machop, if he didn't evolve a 20, would have gained a new ability for being level 20, and it would have been the same selection. I would have chosen Bodyguard anyway. Make sure you adjust your skills. double check your moves, redo your base stats, reapply your nature. Now, if you used any vitamins, those of you familiar with the games like protein, zinc, carbos, if you use those before he evolved, you would reapply those now before you then reallocate your stats, because vitamins, when you use those, modify the base stats. It's not an allocated point, modifies the base. So if I gave him a vitamin that improved his attack, it would go from a 12 to, let's say, a 13. But I didn't apply any vitamins in this tutorial. But if you do, just remember to apply those before you then begin allocating, because they may change your base relation and how you have to allocate your points. Double check your capabilities, make sure nothing changed, because some evolutions will gain new nature walk abilities or other abilities. Make sure you add a new line, add those in there to keep them tracked. Obviously his HP stayed the same because I reallocated the same amount of points here, because his base went up, but I allocated less, but then other points had to go elsewhere because of how special defense went up. I had to improve that because I want my speed as basically as high as I can get it without making other sacrifices, so he doesn't always go last. And then make sure you change your level here, because this HP calculation takes into effect this level line right here. So if you don't change this, your HP is going to be incorrect. And then I just set the new XP, so he's got 400, which gets him to level 20, and then he needs 460 to get to level 21. So now we need to apply his new tokens and his new avatar token. So we're just going to go here to edit. We're going to take this, we're going to remove it. Go here to my recent uploads, drag the new one over. Okay. I'm going to remove this token here. I'm going to go to this token, and now I got to set it up again. So he's going to be the Pokemon Creation Guide. I check the nameplate because I like to have it visible. We're going to set this to hit points. Set this to players can see this. We're going to save changes. Now we're going to select it. Click here. And then since he's still a fighting type Pokemon, he doesn't get an additional typing. His weaknesses and resistances stay the same, so you can save this chart here. If it does change, you can look at the new chart from here, go back to here and basically just generate a Pokemon of the whatever evolution you're going to. Then you can either recopy and paste the whole thing, or you can just go in here and modify these boxes manually if you like to. So now we're going to save changes. So now, if I need to pull him from my belt, throw him out, there he is. Boom. Super easy. Well, all right, gamers, so that was it. We created a level 1 Pokemon. We leveled the Pokemon to level 5 to be our starter, to go out in the world and battle the Pokemon League or whatever type of game you're playing. Then we leveled it to level 20, and we did an evolution so you can see how that works. So now this Pokemon is ready to go out there, be your front line in defense out in the wild, and hopefully win you some gym badges. Well, all right, gamers. So we're getting ready to wrap up this video. But I told you that at the end here, I would do kind of like a little tutorial on how I set up this player page. If it's something that maybe you GMs out there that are going to be running Pokemon want to have something to your players to look at, to organize all of their Pokemon and to make it look kind of cool. So basically all I did, I create a new map. So I'll go ahead and do one here. I got one already made here. So I just made a new map. And then you can set it to whatever size you need. And then what I did, I just like searched in this thing here for like color tiles. Yeah, so something like this. So I just got a bunch of these. Okay. And then I made 6 of them, right, to represent the belt. What I do, I select them, I put them on the map layer, right? So now I can't mess with them. And then you go here to your journal, and then so say this this Pokemon right here is on my belt, right? Our new Machoke. It goes right there. So it's easy to see. And then so say you've got your player character or whatever. We'll go to my friend Nick here. He's playing Jezebel. Take him, throw his token out. Then I just put him just like that, or kind of however you wanted to organize it. I just did it like this, so then I could make the page longer to represent all their PC Pokemon. You could probably even put like a header here, you know, PC Pokemon, and do more tiles or whatever. But I just did it just like super simple right here. Just have them all. Then I've got most of them tied. I do make my players name all their Pokemon. So just in case, like, everybody's, so like this guy right here, he's got 2 Zubats. One of them doesn't have named. But when it comes to like tying tokens, you know, so say I go here, right? And then I got this list. These are all the characters that I've made for this game. You know, if I've got like 5 Zubats and I'm trying to tie the right one for the right person, it's just difficult. So I make them name them all. Plus it's, you know, kind of makes them a little more personable, right? There's not just Bulbasaur. You know, this guy's got Bulba. He's got Terminator, Snappy. Some of these Pokemon that I gave, these guys were already named, like kind of how like you get them in like game trades in like the Game Boy games. Like Conundrum was an Abra that he got. Snappy he got from a lady that was at one of the contest halls that was looking to trade up for a different Pokemon. So this Pokemon is not really represented, but in his like little inventory or whatever, he wears like a little press boy cap. You know, so it looks kind of cool, you know. Gives him bonuses in contests, which I've talked about again. We'll go over that whole section in a video on its own. That one could be long. There's a lot to contests. It is pretty convoluted at times, but we'll go through it together, and I'll do my best to make sure you guys all understand it. And then one of the things I didn't cover, but what I want to, real quick, while we're here. So all of you that stick around to this point in the video get to learn like all these ancient techniques, right, that I learned in the mountains. So say you've got a larger Pokemon. So as an example, actually, let's go back here. So this Pokemon right here, so the Snorlax is actually large size. So technically in game, it's a 2x2 square. So here though, I shrink it down so it fits nice and neat in my player page instead of it being like this one's this big. My Lodic is the same way. She's big. You know, this just looks atrocious. Also, this Pokemon right here, this shiny Phoebus, I'll show you this. You guys might get a kick out of this. So this Phoebus here is super special. They did a Phoebus catching contest at Lonely Harbor, which is one of the like the big city with a harbor where they take the boat, kind of like my St. Anne's or whatever. To where they get to the mainland. They had a big contest there, and this was like I had a bunch of charts. You know what? Actually, I'll just show you. So once again, you guys that stick around to the end get to see all this cool stuff. Where is it? Lonely Harbor. So I had Lonely Harbor, like the town, and then I had the actual harbor itself. So I had my, where is it? My Phoebus size chart for the contest and my Phoebus catching contest. So these were all the details that I made. So it cost them 500 Poké-Dollars to enter. They can use whatever rod, lure, or bait they wanted to. There's a bunch of rules here. You guys can pause the video, take a look at all of these. I even got my rewards in here as well for whoever the winner is. And then the GM notes, like the fishing list, right? So it lasted for a certain amount of hours, and then every so often, based on the fishing rules, you can make a fishing check to see if you catch anything. So if they hooked something from their fishing check, I would then consult my chart right here. So trash, you know, boots, tires, you know, whatever people throw in the water. And then I had a random Pokemon from a different fishing list that they could potentially catch, because there's more than just Phoebus out there in the water. And then a Phoebus, which I would then consult the chart. Let's look at this. So they would reel in a Phoebus that I would roll to see basically like how big of one, right? It didn't really, like, this didn't really affect anything stat-wise, except for this guaranteed winner. So it only had a 2% chance. So basically to catch like this, you know, like the white whale of Phoebus. This super Phoebus. It's a shiny Phoebus. And it's, absolutely gigantic. I'll show you in just a second. And those of you that might be wondering, like, what is this 3-star mystical Pokeball? This is a Dragon Ball reference. So I've created the 7 mystical Pokeballs in my game. So if the players are able to collect them all, they've got 2. They got the 3-star and they've got the 5-star now. If they collect all 7, they're able to put them together, summon Jirachi, who then may grant them a wish. So y'all can use that in your game if you like. If you do, just remember where you heard that. So, but with that, let me just show you this Phoebus. So I've got it tied to a character sheet. Actually, let me get it over here. It needs space. The BF Phoebus, the best friend Phoebus, needs lots of space. All right, so the BF Phoebus. You see, he's like his best friend Phoebus. Yes, it is a 4x4. So this is like small and medium are 1 square, large 2 square. Then there's like huge, and then there's like, I don't know, colossal. I forget exactly what they call this 4x4 size. Basically, this is like the biggest Phoebus like in my world, and it's kind of a sad Pokemon because he's so big. And he's so cumbersome, and he's like, Phoebus are not cute Pokemon. I mean, maybe some people, y'all think he's cute, right? Milotic is absolutely amazing, but this Pokemon is just like, so there's a part in the core rulebook about shiny Pokemon, which I'll do a little video on about how to do like shiny Pokemon. What you can do with it, you pretty much do whatever you want, right? But what I've done, one of his flaws, he's just gigantic. Like, he's huge. And he takes up all 4 of these squares, even though, like, his little picture doesn't show that. He takes up 4x4. So, like, when you put him in water, like, water's got to be really big. Like a little swimming pool, he's probably not going to be able to take it up. But what's going to happen is eventually, I don't know if I've got it tied right, but it's eventually going to turn into this. It's just like an absolutely absurdly huge shiny Milotic. And now what I did with it as well, with this Phoebus, obviously you'll see that its base stats, if you were to look in the book, these are not the stats of a Phoebus, the base stats. But shiny Pokemon, you can, like I said, you can pretty much do whatever, right? They're super rare, they can be really powerful, they could be really big. They could be just all kinds of stuff. So I decided to make this like this big, ugly Pokemon that's like sad because the other Phoebus like make fun of it or whatever in its habitat, right? However they talk to each other, right? So this Pokemon is really down. You know, it doesn't feel good about itself. So he has the item. He has the Prism Scale to evolve it into this Milotic, but I'm requiring him to get this Pokemon's like basically like affection level, or it's like loyalty level up to a certain point before it'll be ready to evolve. It'll be confident in itself. It'll be ready to evolve and do battle. So once it goes from this, it'll go to this. And this is going to be like an insane creature. This is going to be like on the par of like legendary type stats. I love Milotic. I play Pokemon Go, and I still haven't gotten a shiny Phoebus. Like, I want one so bad, but I haven't been able to get one. But what you can do, here's what you can do, though. So when you want to say, I don't want to, goofy, right? Because if you put other tokens here, so now it's on top, and I try to grab Machoke here, I can't. So what you can do, though, you can just shrink it down, right? Put on your belt, like that. But then when you want to get it out in combat, you can just grab it from your journal, put it right there. So now it's the actual size. So when you're setting up a page like this, just remember larger Pokemon, you make sure you fix the token itself to be whatever the right size and have the right settings on it. But then you can shrink down basically your placeholder on your belt to whatever size you need. But then when you pull it from your journal, it makes it the same size. All right, gamers. So there it was. There was a video. I tried to make it as short as possible. But there's a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of details that I wanted to include in that, so you knew some of the nuances of some of the reason why you do certain things. There's a big conversation about base relation. It's a super important part of the game. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps you. If it does, please hit that like button. Not just for me, but the more likes the video gets, the more likely other people are going to be able to see it, that maybe have questions. You're helping them out. You're helping me out. I'm helping you out. One big symbiotic relationship we have here. But with all of this said, I want to say, wish you all happy holidays. Until I see you again in the dungeon, I'm Brian, your game master, and happy gaming.